it's the same everywhere. We are all the same. We just come from different countries. I did not know that I was nominated.
The love of your life entered into your life.
We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today, the Noongar Wadandi Mort. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present and emerging.
Scratch the surface and everyone has a story. Welcome, Kaya, to the wisdom of women.
Today's guest has come all the way from Germany and now lives in Australia.
And she always knows how to make people who've moved from other countries feel at home.
Yes, a big welcome to Susanne Hamersley. Susanne, you are the epitome of someone who's found themselves a great new home in Oz.
Thank you very much, and I'm very pleased to be here.
Well, we're pretty happy to have you here in the WOW studio as well. It's interesting, your background too. Before we go into all the amazing parts and roles that you play as a new Aussie, an immigrant, although you've been here for a number of years, give us a bit of background. Like, where did you come from initially?
So my little hometown is called Pfungstadt, which is...
Everyone say that? Pfungstadt?
Pfungstadt.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Oh,
Thank
good job,
you.
everyone.
Yeah, which is not far away from Frankfurt, in the middle of Germany. And that's where I grew up with my sister and my parents.
Oh, so a beautiful childhood.
Yeah, I had a beautiful childhood, very protected. And I think that when I started to go to high school, and high school was not in the little town where I grew up, I had to travel for an hour to go there. I discovered that there's a world outside of Pfungstadt. And I thought, there's something more to see. And because I read a lot as a child already, I discovered a book which is nowadays very outdated, but it was all about archaeology and gods and discoveries. And then I thought, I'm going to be one of those. I'm going to discover something very important.
I love that. Isn't it quite a moment when you just have something in your childhood that just embarks you onto another journey that ignites a passion?
Yeah, that's right. So that is how I ended up studying in a big city. And I studied geography, which is quite unusual because I didn't want to be a teacher. And I combined it with ethnology and sociology because, again, I thought, I'm going to travel the world and I'm going to be a journal or whatnot for the National Geographic. Yeah.
That sounds so cool.
It does. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, but it did not happen. No.
But that's okay. You had another grand adventure of life though, didn't you?
Yeah, well, when I finished uni, there were definitely no jobs around. So my focus was more like town and regional planning then.
Oh, okay.
And I worked as a student in a company called International Data Company, which didn't have anything to do with what I was studying. So that was a market research company for the then evolving IT market. So I was a PC hardware analyst at the time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's so different.
It is very different, But it was very good for me because it was an American company and we traveled a lot. So my English was actually improving then, which was really nice.
Excellent.
That is good. And I suppose it's something that we don't appreciate to that degree when English is your second language.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy language to learn either, is it?
It's not. And in a work environment, you don't learn the everyday English. You just learn the business English. And every time I met, for example, colleagues from Scotland or so, I was petrified.
Someone from Glasgow, it's like, wow, that's such a strong accent. My grandmother had a soft Scottish brogue, but sometimes the relatives had really strong Scottish brogue. Like, what did you say?
No clue. Yeah, that's
that would be Panic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So, because I did not work for the National Geographic, I started traveling on my own, which was very pleasant at the time, I have to admit. And from there I went, I worked for a PC hardware company, which was very exciting. That was in the early 90s, and that was when the wall came down. So we had a partner in formerly Eastern Germany, and they developed PCs and
Like software or programming?
yeah. So they were quite innovative, and that's how I discovered a little bit of the formerly Eastern Germany, which was nice.
Fascinating for you to have lived through that experience.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a significant part of history, isn't it? And we're just observers. But you grew up there. It was
Yeah.
very much.
I still remember the day after the wall fell. And because Frankfurt is not far away from the border, suddenly when I went to work, I saw all these strange cars on the Autobahn.
Really?
And it was one after the other of the Trabi. It's called Trabi, which was the East German car. They had only 2 brands or 3, I think. And they run on different fuel, so it was quite a smell in the air.
Really?
And it was just, I'll never forget that, it was just one after the other, all the people leaving the following day to explore the western part, which was very moving.
Very.
Yeah.
Did you ever explore the eastern
Yeah.
part?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did, especially in Berlin. When you wanted to go to Berlin, you had to cross the border, which was a bit daunting because you had to go through customs, and you were not allowed to take like magazines and stuff, and they looked what you had as information or books or whatnot. So that was interesting.
That's very intimidating to
It is a
understand
bit,
that. I mean,
yeah.
particularly here in Australia, where we would not have any inkling or understanding of being so controlled, and for information, the passing of information to be so strictly monitored.
Yeah, but then you came to Berlin, and Berlin was just a hive, a buzz of culture and art, and the most beautiful city, I think. Yeah, and still is. Yeah,
Sounds beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah. So the wall comes down, and you continue on life. And then what happens? Because you do go travelling, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, I suddenly had that experience in computer hardware, which was an evolving market at the time. It's not that long ago, actually.
Yeah. I don't know, the way this technology develops, though, it must be quite incredible for you to look back at the emergence of the industry to where it all sits now.
Yeah, that's right. And then I changed over to a marketing advertising agency because they were looking for someone who looked after the servers. And that's what I did. And so I kind of drifted into account management, and that's what I did for the next 20 years. So I actually worked in several advertising agencies and then ended up in one of the biggest networks, which is called Ogilvy. And there I had international clients, and I was able to travel again, which was like,
Fantastic.
it was meant to be. And again, I had American clients, a very, very lovely woman at a very unusual company. They are an insurance company for big industry, and their disaster management insurance. And this woman was in the board of management, and she was just amazing. So through her, I learned a lot, because she also, when we had our meetings in Boston, she always had a meeting on a Monday morning so that we had time to arrive early and go shopping. That was...
She's good.
She was very well organised, wasn't she?
Yeah,
How
she was.
fantastic to have
Yeah.
such an important female role model
Oh,
to a
yeah.
degree in your life as well, because that's so
Yeah.
valuable,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It is, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then in my private life, I was just traveling, and my first experience was actually in South Africa and overseas. I mean, in Europe, you travel a lot anyway because everything is a lot closer. But the first overseas experience was South Africa, and it felt like I came home. It was,
Really?
yeah. And I always had that when I went to Africa. I don't know why.
South Africa or Africa in general?
In general.
Wow.
Yeah, it must be, I don't know.
Yeah.
The sky is different.
Yeah.
The light is different. The people are different. And yeah, it's amazing.
So something about it really touched you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Also being so close to nature because I traveled very basic. Later on, I went back to Africa several times. I did organized tours in tents and four-wheel drive trucks so that you really could be there with the people and with the nature, which you don't experience when you travel luxury or in, which is not
No.
my approach anyway. So
That's so true. Like you say, though, when you're travelling around in that bushland, and it's very much about the nature. My hubby and I did backpacking through parts of Africa and South Africa.
Yeah.
And, we had two sticks to rub together. But it was all about seeing the big five and heading out to some amazing game parks and, understanding, well, not game parks, but, animal parks. And you're right, there's something about the people as well.
It is. It's, the people are incredibly poor, but the perspective or the joy of the moment, that is, I think, maybe grabbed me, that it didn't matter where they were at their life. There was always time to be friendly to other people and celebrate and invite them in to celebrate, which I think is amazing.
I think that's a bit lost lately as time goes on.
Probably right, Sid.
Yeah, yeah.
Sad.
Which makes it even more special when you come across it.
Yeah.
You embrace it and really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. So, so Africa, the grand
Africa.
experience, and the love of your life entered into your life. Would
Yeah,
that be
and I
correct?
met him in Africa.
Is he South African?
No,
or
he's Australian.
He's an
He's,
Aussie.
he's actually
I was gonna
from
say, we are pretty
Arthur
much-
River.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Is that right? Oh,
Yeah,
this
that's
is so good.
Yeah. So I booked myself into a tour organized by a South African company because I wanted to improve my English. And that was my first holiday on my own. And that was a 5 weeks trip from Johannesburg through Botswana, then to Zimbabwe, to Zambia, Malawi, Mozambique, and then back to South Africa. And that was truly basic, but it was just amazing. And he did the same. He thought, there must be something else in life, and booked the same tour. And that's how we met, actually. Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
So there was something about him right from the start? Twinkle in his eye?
Um,
Humour?
It was the humor, and he has these piercing blue eyes, and I thought, oh my God. But I did not seek contact
You were
because I
cool.
didn't understand him. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. Okay.
Therein lies the challenge with Australian men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we understand?
Do we understand? No.
Well, the
Probably
Aussie
not.
language can be challenging,
Yeah, and the way we
Yeah, but
speak.
even though
I
it's
mean-
English.
Yeah. It is a challenge, really. And we had 5 weeks. So we spent a lot of time in the evening, like sitting together and chat. And that's how we became friends. And that's where the trip ended. And we kept in contact. And at the time, there was no Skype or anything. So he rang me once a week.
Oh,
Oh, don't you
that's
love
so
these
sweet.
stories back in the day?
Back in the day, yeah. So that was 2006, I think, yeah. And
Oh, that was when I was born.
Oh,
you
look at
go.
you. Yeah. Yeah, and then we discovered Skype, and then he had long service leave and said, I'm going to visit you. And then I thought, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, well, maybe I go first to see how he is, because I haven't seen him then for a while. And I thought, well, he was planning to come 2 or 3 months. And I thought, maybe I should check it out. And then I did something I would have never done before in my whole life. I traveled on my own to Australia. And it was like my girlfriend said, oh, if it is not good, you come back straight away, give us his phone number, and we have to make sure that he's not a murderer or whatnot.
And
Yeah,
I can imagine, like,
absolutely.
because this is insane. You're
Yeah.
travelling off on your own to
Yeah.
go and meet a fella.
Yeah, yeah,
Go, girl.
In the wilds of Australia.
yeah.
Because you don't know.
Yeah, but we stayed with his son and daughter-in-law for the first day, so I thought, can't be too bad then.
Oh, this is so good.
yeah.
Wow.
So, and that's how we started our relationship. Yeah, yeah. Fell in love, and then had a long-distance relationship for 3 or 4 years, I think. Got married, and then I moved to Australia.
So you got married back at home?
We got married at home because at the time my father was very sick, and we wanted to have the family there.
Beautiful.
And unfortunately, my dad didn't make it. So he died 2 months before the wedding. Yeah. And I could not decide what I should do, because I was always hoping that he might move to Germany, because I'm very close with my family, especially with my sister. And I could not even imagine at the time, moving from where I used to live to the southern part of Germany, where I had a job offer. I said, no, I'm not going to do it, because I don't want to leave my family behind.
So let alone travelling to the other side, really, of the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, I came here in 2008 for 3 months. I had long service leave as well. And then he asked me if I could imagine to live in Australand. And I said, no.
You didn't think about it.
No.
I thought, oh
No,
my
mate.
God. Yeah,
Yeah, no.
no. But, you know,
And here you are.
it all happened. And then I decided to move. I mean,
Yeah.
we got married in 2009, and it doesn't make sense to live apart, right?
That's
Not
right.
at this distance. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not so bad.
No.
So you got married and then decided, okay, I am going to move to Australand with my husband. How did that go? What was the initial early days like, the few days, the few weeks? Like, what were your thoughts coming into WA?
I hated it because I moved in April, May, as far as I remember. And it was terrible weather. I didn't know anyone. I mean, I knew a few of his friends, but you don't want to annoy them like all the time.
Yeah.
And I was incredibly lonely. He was a shift worker.
Okay.
So every second weekend he was not at home. And I mean, he did everything to make me feel comfortable, but I was very, very lonely. And I didn't look for a job straight away because I was a bit exhausted, because my dad passed away, and then my mother got breast cancer, so I didn't want to leave her alone. And when I moved, I was a bit worn out, so I thought I'm going to have a break, especially with like getting used to the new environment and
Acclimatizing to it all, isn't it?
decorate the house a little bit. But that was not a good idea. So I kind of felt stuck, and I didn't know what to do.
So what changed? What happened?
What happened was that I met a few Germans, coincidentally. I went to the Multicultural Service Center, which used to be in Wittenham Street, and there I met a lovely lady, and she connected me with other women, which was really a lifesaver. And especially one took me under her wing and showed me around, which was great. And then I started to work and slowly settled in. And then I thought, it's not too bad. I mean, it's just magic. The landscape here, the nature is absolutely breathtaking. You just have to open your heart for it. And I was just like, I used to live in Frankfurt. There was so much culture. I went to concerts and whatnot. And there was nothing here, but you find other things. Yeah, and it all depends on the people you meet. Yeah.
And it's different culture and different size concerts and different bites of things in a small town, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wherever you are in the world, it's always a little bit smaller scale, and it's one of the sacrifices we make from living in a city and coming to somewhere smaller is have less, but still it's there. You just have to find it in a smaller way and find a different type of culture.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the people are very, very kind and nice. A bit different to Germany because especially in smaller towns, they're just more open and talk to you straight away.
Yeah.
And I was actually impressed when I got to know Bunbury. I thought, oh my God, that is really a city you have to discover. I did not know that there's so much on, and that you can do a lot of things, really. And on top of it, the nature. Yeah.
And it surrounds us, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's right.
So you had people reaching out to you to help pave the way, and by the same token, then you're reaching out yourself.
Yeah.
So that connection, it's really interesting when we talk to women about their life experiences and their journeys. A lot of it comes back to the connection.
Yeah.
To meeting fellow people, and particularly women meeting other women who provide sort of, that support and that background, don't they? It all connection with people.
Community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was also very supported by my family, although they were not here. Like my mum made it. She came in the first year.
Fantastic.
And she absolutely loved it here. Which was really nice, and the rest of the family came visiting and so on. But what really helped me was the work then, because I used to work at the Southwestern Times, and I was looking after the sponsorships for for the community groups and festivals and so on. And that was the best thing because I met so many people, and that really brought me into the community here. Yeah. That
gorgeous.
was an absolute gift. Yeah. Yeah.
And so your involvement with the multicultural group, when did that sort of evolve?
I think that is 8 years ago now. I always went to the festival, to the Southwest Multicultural Festival, and I thought, that's so vibrant, and I want to be involved in that because it was always like suddenly all these people popped up from all around the world at this one day in Bunbury, and I couldn't believe it, how beautiful it was. And then I met the then chairperson, Shamara, and she said, we're going to have our AGM next week, come around. And I was 5 minutes there and I was the secretary.
See, don't you love this about committees? If you leave the room or anything, you're straight on.
That's fantastic.
I did not have a clue. It was a bit overwhelming, but it was good for me because it brought me out of my shell a bit, out of my comfort zone and so on. And then I've just stayed on, and from the secretary I was then a few years later vice chair and then chairperson, and I just handed it over to the next strong woman.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself meeting other women, and it's almost like you can recognise that they're in a position similar to what you were when you first came?
It's
to
the
WA?
same everywhere.
Yeah.
We are all the same. We just come from different countries, or we might look different, but we are all the same inside. And that was so empowering because when I met all, and it's mainly women in the Bunbury Multicultural group, what a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my family, and that's where I met some really good friends. And yeah, I found myself connected, and I thought I belong. That was incredibly important to me, to have this network. Yeah.
Now, last year you were a recipient of a volunteer award as part of the WA
Yes.
Volunteer Awards. Tell us a little bit about that. How did it feel, and what do you think?
Yeah, it is. It's called WA Volunteer for Multicultural Communities. I did not know that I was nominated. Suddenly my name was called out, and I was.
Did you have to get up on stage and
Yeah.
say a speech? Tell me you wrote something. You were half prepared, or did you just wing it?
Well, my friend nominated me, and she knew that I won because.
I got chills.
Yeah, that's Shamara.
Shamara.
Yeah, and they rang her, and she had to do a video message for the event because everyone who is nominated has a nominator, and they're going to talk about why they think this person deserves it. So she did that all without telling me. The only thing she said, like, or maybe you want to prepare a speech just in case, she knows me very well. When you get nervous, you forget your words or what.
Yeah.
Just write something down, and that's what I did. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah, and I think what brought the attention to that was the photo exhibition I organized, which was very close to my heart, and not sure if you heard about that photo exhibition. It was called
explain
This
to
One
us.
Thing.
Yeah, explain to us about it.
That was actually inspired by an article I read in the National Geographic, and it was about female journalists going to a refugee camp. I can't remember where it was. And there were a lot of women from South Sudan who had to flee the war. And all they brought with them was a sheet, an embroidered sheet, which is very important in the culture. It's how I understood it, because it is handed down through generations, so from the grandmother to the mother to the daughter. And I thought, oh, that is amazing, really. And I thought everyone must have something. That is so precious that you would never leave it behind.
It is your first thought in a moment where you know that you have to leave in a matter of minutes. What is that first item that you would grab?
Yeah. So I checked with some people. We did not do it for women only, so we had a few males who wanted to participate, which I found lovely because that whole story is so emotional. And yeah, we did the photo shoot. Everyone brought one item that is very precious to them. And we recorded a podcast where everyone tells their story in their own words. And I can tell you there was a lot of tears and heart-wrenching stories, but very, very beautiful. So, and I think that was maybe,
What a privilege to be able to listen to someone's story and background and get an understanding.
Yeah.
That's somebody really opening up, isn't it?
And it is also good for the community who doesn't have that experience, because what we wanted to do with this exhibition was to show that we are all the same. It doesn't matter where we come from. Everyone has a story to tell, and by discovering someone else's story, you discover that's simply a human being in front of me. It's not an enemy, it's not a terrorist, it's not whatnot. It's just a person who has a story to tell and maybe something nice to share.
And some experiences that maybe that you can actually reflect on or find some similarity to as well. Again, that beautiful connection when people start revealing a little bit more about themselves.
Did you have something that you would grab if you had to flee? Did you pick something?
I had something. It was my choice to move, so I didn't have to flee. But I brought something which is important to me because it's Christmas. And before I left, I bought a little wooden nativity scene thing, and I put that in our living room around Christmas time. That reminds me of home. It's carved by, it's coming from a traditional area where they do all these beautiful wood carvings in Germany. And that's my thing. Yeah,
That's
which
beautiful.
represents me, I think. And
That's really nice.
Yeah, goodness, certainly is. As far as volunteering goes, I know that you've spoken to us before about how it opened a whole new world for you, and certainly something that I think we could recommend to a few people, couldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's now my job. I get paid for it.
That's great. Clearly you're very good at it.
Yeah, I work at Volunteer Southwest now, and I really enjoy that because you meet so many people who are too shy to connect with the community.
Yeah.
And they might need that little bit more of support to settle in. And we often deal with new migrants who don't have a clue how the Australian society works or how to fill out a form or whatnot. And you hear so many interesting stories. So I just connected a Ukrainian couple to a not-for-profit organization. And it looks like this woman has a paid job now through
How
the
fantastic.
volunteering experience.
Yeah, volunteering. It does. It just brings so much into life.
Just checking.
All good.
Yeah.
We've had many times where they've just flicked off.
Oh, okay.
So just halfway through, like,
Yes.
Oh, good.
Got to make sure. Got to make sure that the cameras are rolling and the mics are working. We talk too about the percentage of the population that are multicultural, because I think we all realise that, it's a melting pot these days, isn't it?
It
Everywhere
is.
we go.
Yeah, that's right. And in Bunbury, we have like 30% of the population or residents are not born in Australia.
Yeah.
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 that's the first generation.
Yeah.
They've come here, and then so their subsequent families are going to. It's bigger and bigger. Like it's amazing.
And I'm sure that Southwest figure would probably be representative of a lot of communities all around Australia.
I mean, look at Katanning, for example. They have a huge population from Afghanistan, and they also do a huge multicultural festival there. It is just amazing.
Yeah.
And here in the Southwest, we have people from everywhere in the world. I mean, you have a lot of refugees coming in now, especially from Ukraine and also from African countries. Through the flag parade we do at the festival, we know that we have at least 60 to 70 different nationalities here because that's how many flags we hand out at the festival.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So we should be out there, reaching out a hand, asking questions. Where have you come from?
Yeah.
Tell us about your home.
Yeah.
Engaging in it.
And when you talk to people, the first thing everyone mentions is the family. And if you talk to women, the first thing is talking about the mother. And then the second thing is food and cooking.
Interesting.
The essentials. Yeah. Yeah, that's part of the soul, isn't it? In many ways, that connection.
Yeah.
the heart, the food, the mother.
Smells of the food.
Yeah, and this is how we connect people. We do other events like Dine with Me, where everyone is welcome and share a plate and bring a national dish. Or yeah. It's a lot of storytelling and eating.
Yeah.
Yum.
What a perfect evening. Eating and storytelling. I like
that's
the way you
nice.
describe that. That
Yeah.
sounds awesome.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Sounds fun.
Now, all of our guests that come along to the Wisdom of Women and have a chat with us here in the studio, we always ask them a few questions about quotes, but also, before we get on to that, is there something that you wish or you would think that every woman really needs to hear at least once in her life?
You know, when I grew up, I'm the first generation after the war. So my mother was born in 1933, and my mother had not the possibility to go to school. I mean, she went to primary school and then had to finish when she was 14 because she had to support the family. So she was never able to learn the profession she wanted. And she was the most educated woman I personally know because she was like a sponge. She was reading, and then she did courses to learn other languages and whatnot. And she always supported me because I was the first one who left the town to go to school. I went to uni and I was the first one to move somewhere else. And she was very supportive. But coming from this traumatized environment, I think my mother was traumatized, definitely my father. I am a bit, it's maybe why I'm so drawn to my family, I don't know. And doing something different, what is not a part of the usual life, causes a little bit of anxiety. So I am not a super courageous person, but although I'm not that courageous, I discovered the world and learned so many things. And I was so often outside of my comfort zone, but with the support of my mother and my sister and my girlfriends, I was able to do it. And I would simply say, just try out. Life is too short to not try things, you know? And just do what you want. Yeah. Experience what you would like to do, and don't listen to people who tell you, oh, you need to do this and this and this and earn money and exhaust yourself because you work 50 hours a week or whatnot. I think that is not important to me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And do you have a favourite quote? Because
I
we love our quotes.
Yes, we do love our
I
quotes.
have to read it. It's too long. I was looking a bit around, and I found this quote from Jane Goodall, and she says, "You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make." And I think that is so strong. And I think thinking of her, coming from her background and where she is now, that is such an incredible story. And I think also she is dealing with so many people who refuse to listen to her or to refuse to support nature and, in her case, the chimpanzees and so on. And she does it with kindness. And I think that is the magic of her word, like being kind and just persevere. Don't lose your goal. Or
I think kindness has the biggest impact.
Yeah.
You're right, it does. And it costs nothing.
It doesn't cost anything. And I think you should not treat someone how you don't want to be treated. Yeah. And I hope I do that. Yeah.
Well, we certainly believe you have, and you've had a wonderful, wonderful impact clearly on all the people here in the Southwest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, if you enjoy listening to our podcast and want to see future episodes, then you should subscribe and notifications that can help when you know an episode is out. As well, check us out on YouTube. And we would like to thank you for coming on our podcast today. It was very nice listening to your journey and hearing a very inspiring story, I think.
Yeah.
Love and travel.
Thank you. Thank you, Susanne,
Thank you.
for sharing your wisdom here in the WOW studio today. We loved it.
And always remember,
Every day,
You are remarkable.